Each species has unique means of obtaining and digesting food. Simple animals such as jellyfish or flatworms have a gastrovascular cavity. The gastrovascular cavity is a sac-like digestive cavity with only one opening which food is taken in and waste is expelled. More complex animals such as earthworms have a digestive tract or complete digestive system with two openings, one for food intake and the other for waste expulsion. The digestive tract is a tube consisting of specialized regions that enable the breakdown and absorption of food. The human digestive system is a complete digestive system that consists of the gastrointestinal tract. It is very long, about 7 to 9 meters. For our body to function properly, our diet should consist of various nutrients including carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. Every process that takes place in the body is fueled by energy derived from food. Food cannot be used by the body unless it is broken down into simpler components, which is the role of the digestive system. The breakdown of food is a chemical and physical process beginning in the mouth. The role of the teeth is to break down food before digestion. The incisors at the front of the mouth are sharp to cut and grab food. The canines beside the incisors are longer and more pointed for tearing food. At the back of the mouth are the premolars and molars that have a textured surface for grinding food. The taste, sight, smell, or even thought of food triggers the salivary gland to secrete the fluid saliva. Saliva contains enzymes that moisten and dissolve food. Chewing increases the surface area of food, making it easier to mix with the saliva. Amylase is an enzyme found in saliva that breaks down starch. Saliva also contains mucus, a protective secretion that lubricates the food, which helps break down some of the elements before it is swallowed. The tongue molds the food into a bolus, then pushes the bolus to the back of the mouth where it is swallowed. Swallowing is a voluntary action, but from then on the process is automatic. As the bolus enters the pharynx, the soft palate is raised to prevent food from entering the nasal passages. At the same time, the epiglottis is raised, covering the entrance into the trachea. Breathing stops momentarily while the muscles contract to push the bolus down the esophagus. The esophagus is a muscular tube connecting the pharynx to the stomach. The bolus continues to move down, driven by peristalsis, the rhythmic involuntary wave-like contractions controlled by the muscles in the esophagus. At the end of the esophagus is the gastroesophageal sphincter. When relaxed, the sphincter opens, allowing food to enter the stomach. Then it contracts, sealing the food in the stomach. The stomach has 4 layers. The innermost layer is folded repetitively and is called the mucosa. The mucosa is a layer of mucus-producing cells that prevent the stomach from damage. The second layer is the submucosa, which contains blood vessels and nerves. The nerves detect when food is present in the stomach, causing the release of gastrin, which stimulates the release of gastric juices through the lining of the mucosa. Gastric juices contain mucus that protects the lining of the stomach, as well as strong acids with a pH of 2 to pH 3 that kill any microorganisms that may be present. Gastric juices also activate digestive enzymes. For example, the protein enzyme pepsinogen converts to pepsin. The third layer is the mucularis, consisting of smooth muscles. Once the mucularis receives signals from the submucosa that food is present, it contracts. The action churns and mixes the acids with the food and produces a semi-liquid mixture called chyme. The smooth outer layer of the stomach is the serosa. It holds the stomach in place and secretes fluids to prevent friction. When chyme is digested enough, the pyloric sphincter, which is the stomach exit, opens to release chyme in spurts into the small intestine. The small intestines are long, narrow tubes where digestion and absorption of nutrients occur. Food is propelled through the small intestines by peristalsis. The structure of the inner layer of the small intestines is arranged for maximum surface area and efficient nutrient absorption. The inner lining is folded into ridges with small projections called villi. Each of the epithelial cells making up the villi have microscopic projections called microvilli. Together, the villi and microvilli increase the total surface area of the small intestines by about 500 times. Every villus contains a network of tiny blood vessels and lacteals that transport nutrients into the bloodstream. The small intestines are composed of 3 structural parts: the duodenum, the jejunum, and the ileum. In the duodenum, enzymes are added and digestion continues. The pancreas is a long, flat gland responsible for most of these enzymes, in addition to hormones that regulate absorption. The enzyme amylase is secreted by the pancreas to further digest starch. When fat-rich chyme is present in the duodenum, the mucosa secretes the hormone cholecystokinine. Cholecystokinine signals the pancreas to secrete substances through the pancreatic duct that neutralize the pH of the intestines and digest nutrients. Lipase is a fat digestive enzyme secreted by the pancreas. Fats in chyme can be difficult to break down. Bile is a substance that emulsifies fats to accelerate the process. Bile is produced in the liver and is stored in the gallbladder until needed. When chyme enters the duodenum, prosecretin converts into its active form, secretin. Secretin is a hormone that stimulates the liver to secrete enzymes, bicarbonate ions, and bile. The neutralizing bicarbonate ions raise the pH of the intestines from about 2.5 to about 9. Some digestive enzymes are unable to withstand the new basic conditions. As a solution, new digestive enzymes are added. The pancreas, for example, releases trypsinogen. Then, the enzyme enterokinase converts trypsinogen into its active form, trypsin, which is a protein digestive enzyme. In the jejunum and ileum, absorption begins. Materials are absorbed in one of three ways. The first is passive transport. It is the movement of materials across a cell membrane without the use of energy. It includes diffusion, osmosis, and facilitated diffusion. It moves with the concentration gradient from an area of high pressure to an area of low pressure. Facilitated diffusion is the diffusion of molecules across a cell membrane using a transport protein embedded in the cell membrane. Transport proteins guide diffusion for certain substances using the concentration gradient. Another form of diffusion is active transport, the movement of materials through a cell membrane using energy from the cell. All absorbed materials, except fats, enter the capillary networks in the villi. Fats enter the lacteals in the villi and are transported through the lymphatic system. Eventually, all materials that are absorbed enter the bloodstream and are transported to all the cells of the body. The large intestine is about 1.5 meters long, but very wide in diameter. The large intestines consist of the cecum, colon, rectum, and anus. The cecum is a pouch that connects the small intestines to the colon. The colon is the longest part of the intestines and is separated into four parts: the ascending colon, transverse colon, descending colon, and sigmoid colon. The matter from the small intestines is propelled through the colon by bands of muscles and is eased by the mucus produced from the mucosa of the large intestines. As this occurs, vitamins produced by billions of bacteria in the colon are absorbed, as well as fluids including water, saliva, mucus, and gastric juices. The undigested material, called feces, consists of materials such as cellulose that cannot be broken down by humans. The rectum holds the feces until the nerves in the wall of the large intestines detect movement. This detection inflicts a reflex, causing the urge to have a bowel movement. The anus has two internal sphincter muscles and two external sphincter muscles. When all sphincter muscles are relaxed, feces are eliminated through the anus. Some diseases associated with the digestive system include peptic ulcer disease, stomach flu, celiac disease, and heartburn. Heartburn is an uncomfortable burning sensation in the lower throat. It is the result of gastroesophageal reflux disease, more commonly referred to as acid reflux. It occurs when the gastroesophageal sphincter does not close completely and acid from the stomach seeps into the esophagus.